Hello everyone, and welcome to this tutorial. In this video, we will learn how to generate an instrument I/O list using Cadmatic Electrical. For a clear understanding, we will start from a completely blank project and go step by step. Let's begin by opening the DB tool and creating a new project. Here, we provide the project path. For this demonstration, I'll create a brand new folder so we can clearly see the full workflow from the beginning. As you can see, this folder is completely empty. There is no existing database, no devices, and no project information. Next, we enter a project name along with a short project description. These details help identify the project later and are especially useful when managing multiple projects in parallel. Once we confirm, the system creates a new project database. At this stage, you'll notice that the project is completely blank. There are no instruments, no I/O tags, and no hierarchy defined yet. Let's use the import function to bring instrument data into our project from Excel. We already have some predefined import settings. If we open the Edit option, we can see the path of the Excel file that will be used for this import. We can also preview the Excel data directly here before importing. You'll notice several columns in the spreadsheet. These columns can be filled based on how you want to build your project hierarchy. In this example, we are using column A through column L, and the instrument index starts after that. On the left side, you can see a live preview of this data, which helps verify everything before importing. Now let's switch to the Devices tab. Here, we can perform column mapping using simple drag and drop. For example, I've mapped the instrument tag number column from Excel to the device ID column in Cadmatic Electrical. This means that after import, every value from that Excel column will automatically be created as a device ID inside the database. You can import Excel values exactly as they are, or you can customize them. For instance, you can add prefixes or suffixes, or even use regular expressions to modify your data, which is very useful for standardizing tag formats or cleaning up incoming information. Now let's move to the I/O tab, which is the main focus of this tutorial. This is where we define how instruments are converted into actual I/O tags inside Cadmatic Electrical. On the left side, I can scroll through the source sheets, for example, the globe valve sheet. In this case, a globe valve requires two I/Os. One analog output to operate the valve. One analog input to receive the feedback signal. These I/O definitions are completely customizable. Let's look at how tag names are generated. For analog outputs, we've added the suffix AO. For the globe valve feedback signal, we've added both a prefix, ZT, and a suffix, AI. You can also use regular expressions to further modify tag names, for example, to replace characters, remove unwanted text, or enforce naming conventions. So effectively, one globe valve instrument creates two I/O tags. One with XXXO, and another with ZTXXXI. This automatic generation saves a huge amount of manual work and ensures consistent naming throughout the project. Once we proceed with the import, we can immediately see these newly created I/O tags in the import preview window. Here, you can also use sorting and filtering to quickly review the generated data. For example, we can see FCVET 500_AO for the analog output, ZT FCVET 500_AI for the analog input. Along with the tag names, you can also view related information such as I/O type, signal description, and other attributes. Once we complete the import for the first time, you'll notice that all entries appear in green. This indicates that the data is newly added to the project. Later, when we re-import updated Excel data, any modified rows will appear in orange. This color coding makes it very easy to identify changes during revisions. Here, we can see that the project now contains a total of 81 instrument devices. If we switch to the I/O tab, we can also see that 103 I/O tags have been automatically created. This clearly demonstrates how Cadmatic Electrical converts instrument definitions into structured I/O data without any manual entry. In this I/O view, you can review all related information such as I/O tag name, I/O type, I/O text, signal description, and other attributes. Everything is organized in a tabular format, making it easy to sort, filter, and verify. If we select any I/O tag and click on Edit I/O information, you can see that the values are already populated directly from Excel. Here you'll find details like tag name, I/O text 1, I/O text 2. This confirms that the import mapping is working correctly and that all required information has been transferred accurately. At this stage, you already have a complete digital I/O database ready for documentation and drawings. From here, the next step is to generate the actual I/O list report, which we'll cover next. For this, we use the report function. Here, we already have saved report settings. These settings include predefined filters and templates, so the system automatically knows which data to extract and how to format it. When we open the report preview, we can see all 103 I/O tags listed together with their related information. Once we create the report, it becomes visible under the Documents tab. Now you can see all created I/O tags along with details such as I/O type, I/O text, and tag names, organized neatly in the Excel report. If required, you can also save a copy of this report. For example, we can save this version as revision 1. This is especially useful for project documentation and for tracking changes between different stages of the project. One major advantage of this workflow is revision handling. If your instrument index changes later, for example during project updates, you simply re-import the Excel file. Cadmatic Electrical automatically updates all related I/O tags and their occurrences in drawings. Now let's look at how revised data is handled. We open the import definition again and make a small change to one of the instrument tags. For example, we update the tag from FCVET 500 to FCVET 500ST, and we also add a few characters to the description. Let's assume this represents our revised input from engineering. Before re-importing, all we need to do is refresh the preview. On the left side window, we can immediately see the updated changes coming from Excel. Now we click Import. This time, instead of green, the modified rows appear in orange, indicating that these entries already exist and have been updated. Once the import is complete, we return to the DB tool, where we can see that the changes are already reflected in the database. There is no need to recreate the report from scratch. We simply go to the Documents tab and click Update Report. Cadmatic Electrical automatically refreshes the existing report with the latest data. All Excel reports can also be found directly inside the project folder, making it easy to access, share, or archive different revisions. You can also use the Compare function to compare different report versions. Here, we select Rev 1 as version 1. It may take a few moments to process, and once it's done, you can clearly see all changes highlighted in yellow. This makes it very easy to track exactly what has changed between revisions. In this example, we can see that 2 I/O tags are affected, both related to the same instrument that we modified earlier. This visual comparison helps engineering teams quickly review updates, validate changes, and communicate revisions without manually checking hundreds of rows. And that brings us to the end of this tutorial. We hope this session gave you a clear and practical understanding of how to create instrument I/O lists using Cadmatic Electrical, from Excel import, I/O mapping, and report generation, all the way to revision handling and comparison. Thank you so much for watching.